friends of the tube. New setup, and the light is going to be soon 1,000,000 p.m. and I just have to film when the mood strikes, or otherwise I'm never going to do it. So welcome to episode technically 1, because I named the one episode that I did before this 0. I really didn't think I would make another one because I just am a very non-committal person, and you know, that was filmed back in October, so it's like a month and a half now. So it's a miracle that I'm back, but here we go. And a lot has happened in that month and a half. Thanksgiving has passed, and then Christmas has also passed, and now it's the new year. This is January 1st that I'm filming this. New year, new me. And yeah, as far as my knits, a lot has also happened because 'tis the season. So I guess I should start with finished objects. I'm gonna try and go in kind of like chronological order of how I presented things last time, but I don't trust my brain to really keep that order, so we'll see how this goes. I think the first thing that I have to show is the Nele sweater. I finished her. It took so friggin' long, but she's done. But I shouldn't even call this the Nele sweater because it's a bastard. It's a very heavily modified version, and I don't recommend that you do this for some reasons. So let me go through. First of all, I should talk about the yarn that I used. The yarn is a Color Mart yarn that is cashmere and knitting for Olive Soft Silk Mohair in Dusty Artichoke. And it's really, the fabric is really, really nice, and I would totally knit this combination again. I don't know if I can find the Color Mart yarn again, but I would, you know, do a cashmere and mohair. Like, what's not to like? I would knit it again, but the process of knitting it was miserable because the mohair, I don't think I like knitting with mohair, honestly. Yeah, we're having a bit of a phase where I don't really like actually knitting with mohair because it sticks to itself and it's really hard to frog. These are all qualities of mohair that everyone knows. I just was deluding myself into thinking that I really love knitting with mohair all this time, particularly because it was so fashionable, but I don't know, we'll see. I love the fabric that this makes. I talked about some of the modifications that I made last episode, but to go over them again, the major thing is that this is not twisted rib. The original pattern isn't twisted rib. I just knit it in a regular rib. And let's see, the sleeves also have some sort of special shaping pattern that the pattern recommends, and I didn't do that because I was just so sick of knitting this guy that I just knit straight all the way down, and then I decreased. I think I did like knit 1, knit 2 together, all the way around. And then so and then I did about like, what is this, like 12 centimeters of just ribbing, regular ribbing, and then I bound off using what is this called, the Italian bind off. I think it looks fine. The sleeves turned out kind of small because in the original pattern the sleeves are really voluminous and then it like tapers down, but I don't know why it didn't do that for my sleeves. Maybe I picked up the wrong stitch count. Maybe that's why the pattern didn't really work out in terms of the stitch pattern, the 3x1 stitch pattern kind of continuing down the side. I mentioned that it didn't really do that correctly. So the other modification that I made was I added short rows. I added the short rows after I split for the yoke, and I think I could have actually done it higher up, like as soon as I did the whatchamacallit, as soon as I did the neck ribbing, because it's kind of strange that it's, I don't know if you can see it. You can kind of see it here, how the stitches are kind of screwed up. I did it down the center of the back, so it's not like I can see it, but I don't know, you can say that it pulls kind of strange, and it might have been better off higher in the back where I could cover it with my hair or whatever. But I'm honestly like so glad that she's finished. I had some other problems with this gal that I will try and, I took some videos, so I'll try and insert that here. But basically the neck, this is totally my fault, and I didn't knit the neck using the smaller needles that you're supposed to use for ribbing. So this is the same size as the body, so that's why it looks so bad. It kind of flares out, but you know what, I'm gonna just live with it. It is what it is. I'm really glad that it's done, but I really have mixed feelings about the final product. I don't know if it is so hot in my room, but I'm gonna put it on and see if I can show you. Ugh. And I added short rows because I knew that this was happening in the original pattern. In the pattern, like the pictures. Oh, you can't really see it. Oh. But if I am just wearing the sweater, sometimes the front, it kind of does this thing where it like sits like that because it has extra fabric. And I didn't really like that on the in the pictures, so I try to correct it with short rows, but it didn't really work. So I don't know. It's really warm, so I'm going to keep it, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll end up reblocking it to see if that'll go away, but for now, I'm just really glad that this is done. Next project that I think I mentioned was the Stockholm sweater V-neck. She's also done, and I ended up, that Liberty Farms yarn that I was using, I used every last scrap for the body and the sleeves of the sweater. Like I even took apart the swatch that I made and then used it to finish off the sleeve here. And then I still didn't have enough. So what I ended up doing was I had wool that's I don't even know where I got it from. I got it from some farm in Vermont. And I ended up using that wool to kind of contrast the what is this guy? The collar, and then the sleeve ends, the ribbing on the sleeves, and the bottom of the sweater as well. And I think the tones look really pretty good together. So I would call this a success. Some modifications that I made to this was this neck ribbing is supposed to be knit long and then folded down. So it'll be a double knit collar, but I didn't do that because the yarn that I used for the ribbing is, I believe it's worsted weight. It was worsted weight, and the yarn that I used for the main body of the sweater was sport weight. But I think it's a little bit thicker than sport. I would say it was closer to DK. So I just didn't feel like having a worsted weight yarn that was folded over would look really good, especially when the sweater was a lighter weight of yarn already. So I just did it single. And then, but I finished off the edge with, is that gonna focus? I don't know. With Italian bind off. So it looks really neat. So I'm overall pretty pleased. Should I try this on? The fit, I like the fit of the Stockholm sweater because it has body shaping. And so it doesn't look, and then the arms are also shaped nicely like that, so it doesn't look so oversized. And I like how the point at which this comes up, the neck. And then I don't know if you can see the body here. Yeah, there we go. So it has a little bit of a tapering. I think it's nice. It's really warm, but it's super itchy, so I can't wear this alone. But I heard that if you wear wool by itself against the skin, it kind of softens up, but I'm honestly too sensitive to try. I'm looking more disheveled as this goes on, but next guy, Sophie scarf, mystery color changing Sophie scarf. No, Sophie shawl, sorry, is done. And I forgot to mention last time that the Sophie shawl, I didn't buy the pattern for the Sophie shawl. I have a Sophie scarf pattern, and I know that the rate of increase decrease is different for the shawl and the scarf, but I just did the same thing, just knit it longer, and I think it looks fine. Definitely the scarf or the shawl at the widest point is not as wide as it is in Petiteknit's like sample pictures, but I think it looks fine. Honestly, she looks good. And I've been getting a ton of wear out of this because I realized that I don't really have any scarves that I like, because most of my scarves are really short. So I really appreciate having a scarf shawl thingy-majig like this. So I finished that as well. So we're already, if you remember, I had 10 works in progresses and 0 finished objects, and I knocked out 3 already, which is pretty impressive for me, but it was also a month and a half. So the next thing is Anker sweater for my boyfriend. I stole it back from him so that I can film this, but he is done, or she, I don't know, these are objects, they don't have gender. It's done. I think it looks really good. Like, if I don't really like this rib pattern on me as much, because I think it really accentuates your shoulders, which could be good for men or women or whoever want their shoulders kind of more accentuated with their clothing. But I don't really love that for me, but on my boyfriend it looks really, really good. And I put in a tag so that he knows the back and the front. I think the length is perfect. I think I did pretty much exactly what it said in the pattern to do. The body of this has no shaping, it's just straight down tube, but the sleeves has some shaping. And I believe it's like every 10, I mean, it depends on your size, but I think I did like every 10 stitches. You do a knit together, and then on the other side you do a slip knit. She has like some other form of slip knit that she does for all of her patterns, so I did whatever the pattern told me to do. And then the ribbing is just 14 rows, something like that. Modifications that I did make some modifications, but they're pretty minor. The beginning, she doesn't specifically say that you should do a tubular cast on, because I guess like a regular cast on would be stretchy enough and also just like not stretch out as much. I think maybe with tubular, over time the neck hole might get wider, which is she might not have suggested it, but I knew that I was going to finish the bottom of this sweater with Italian bind off, so I wanted that to match the cast on, so I did a tubular, and I think it looks really good. Over time I might have to put in some elastic, but you know, we live together, so it's fine. I'll do it sometime. And the yarn, what was this yarn? Did I mention what this was last time? Drops Lima and Petrol. And I think this looks really good. Like, if you have a more cool tone skin, it really brings out, I don't know what I'm talking about. I know nothing about color theory. Anything else? Oh, I added short rows in the back because this is something with like Petiteknit's earlier patterns, is that she has, like, for the Sunday cardigan and sweater and the Anker sweater, it's a yoke sweater, right? But it doesn't have any short row shaping. So I found that when I wore them, it would kind of like, you know, kind of get me in the neck, get me in a chokehold. So I didn't really want that, especially because I'm giving away to somebody who's not really used to wearing hand knit sweaters. So I added some short rows in the back, and I do not believe that you can really see it. Like, it's here. I did it right after I finished the yoke pattern, and you really can't see it. And it's because I followed a German short row tutorial from Nimble Needles, I believe is his YouTube handle. And that channel, I don't know, bro, like, he's like a knitting god. Like, how does he figure out these techniques? But I will link to that particular tutorial, and it's really good. This is the first time that I knitted short rows that are basically invisible. Evidently, I didn't do that technique with the Nele sweater, and you can totally see it. But here you really can't tell. And I also made the short rows kind of less gradual so that it's not as noticeable. Like, for the Nele sweater, my short rows were like kind of this shape, and then for this Anker sweater, they were more like that. So yeah, overall success. I finished it in time for Christmas, and he wore it to a Christmas party, so it worked out. Very good, very good. 4. Okay. And let's see. I also had some other works in progresses that I finished in time because they were Christmas presents. I had the green hipster hat, which I don't have with me because I gave it away to my friend, but I'll insert a picture if I can get her consent to use her picture. But she really liked it, and that was great. And then the other thing that I finished was the pair of socks made with Schoppel wool Zauerball, just vanilla socks. But I have yarn left over, so I think I can actually make another pair. The ball was 100 grams, and I ended up using 50 grams, and I knitted a full pair of socks. So I think I can get another pair out of this, so my friend and I can have matching socks, and that'll be kind of cute, I guess. She also loved it, or she pretended like she loved it, which was fine enough for me, as I said in the last episode. So that's 6 out of 10 done. What happened? What happened in the month and a half? A lot, clearly. And I believe that's all the finished objects from the work in progresses that I showed. And then on top of that, I have some other finished objects that I just cast on. I said in the last episode that I don't really care about accessories.
I don't wear hats. I don't wear headbands. I don't really wear gloves or mittens either.
Apparently, I was lying to myself and fooling myself into believing that I don't need accessories because I wasn't cold enough. As soon as it got cold, I lost my mind and started casting on all these new winter accessories, basically. The first one I have to show, so last year, with this year too, there's been a balaclava epidemic, a pandemic. And I did knit a balaclava last year, but it wasn't very good, and I didn't use I didn't use any patterns. So this year I thought, what if I knit something from a pattern? And then it's not a balaclava, but I came across this pattern called a Harriet Bonnet. So I made this guy out of some scrap yarn that I have. I don't know if I have the details of the yarn because they've been in my stash for so long, but this hat is made, this bonnet is made from the main body of the bonnet. I think is 100% like wool, that I also got when I was in Kingston. It was like a locally produced yarn that I got from a yarn shop in Kingston. I'll put the name of the yarn shop here because I don't remember. But it's got this kind of multicolored speckles in it. It's not really tweed because I think it's dyed, but it's very softly dyed. So point color is a yarn that I had left over from making Christmas presents last year, and I think it's Barocco. I think it's alpaca. I think it's alpaca and wool, but I don't know the specific name of the yarn. So great stash busting project. I think I used about, I think the yarn was like less than the main body of the bonnet. This yarn, I think I got 100-gram skein, and then the point color I really didn't use that much at all. I had like 10-15 grams left. So if you have 100 grams, I didn't use all of this main yarn. So if you have 100 grams of yarn that is worsted, I think this is worsted, you can get a Harriet Bonnet out of that. This is definitely not to gauge though, not to pattern gauge, because I'll put up a picture of the original sample here from the pattern maker. It's not worsted weight, and I keep putting this on, but the original kind of bonnet sample comes up to here, and I wanted it longer kind of to cover my ears, I guess. But yeah, the original pattern comes up to here, and then I think the length of this comes a little bit, the depth of the bonnet, I guess, comes up shorter. Why am I struggling with words? And then another modification that I made is that the ties, the ties are I-cord in the original pattern, but they're not done in this way. So what I did was I did the ribbing for the main section of the bonnet as instructed in the pattern, and then for the original pattern you're also supposed to do the same ribbing on the bottom, but then the bonnet ended up coming like too far down my neck and it ended up looking really weird. And then in the original pattern you're supposed to, I believe, do I-cord down this way. So from this ribbing you're supposed to have the I-cord go in like this vertical direction, but what I did was pick up all the stitches. I don't know why I'm still wearing this and trying to show you, like that's here, like the stitches around the base of the bonnet I picked up and then did an I-cord edging around that instead, and then I just continued the I-cord so that it's long. I thought the pattern was really clear. It's a simple pattern, so you could totally make this if you're a beginner and get a cute little winter accessory. I think I'm going to definitely make another one using the right yarn weight and following the directions in the pattern exactly, because I think that's a really cute look, the stripe in the original pattern. I just didn't have enough yarn for this purpose, so I will do that soon before winter goes. The next finished object I have is this headband. I also said that I didn't wear headbands, but clearly I was a freaking liar, and I have a headband. And what inspired me to make this headband was, I believe her Instagram handle is Nele. She has a simple headband pattern out. And what I really liked about that headband was that it looks really professional because it's a double knit headband, but it's seamless. Basically, it looks seamless, or at least in the pattern it does. So I was really inspired. I thought it looked really like professional, store-bought, so I wanted to kind of use some yarn that I had and make a similar one. But I didn't buy the pattern, but I wanted to mention, in case you don't want to figure this out like I did, and you just want to knit straight from the pattern, because I'm sure, like, I don't know what technique she used in the pattern, so this is just like what I thought would work. But basically the method that I took is, this is DK cashmere and some blend yarn that I had to knit another Christmas present from last year, and then I made a sweater for my mom, and then I had this left over. So this was about, like, I didn't even weigh it. Maybe I'll put in the numbers here of how much yarn this took, but I used basically every last scrap of it. And the construction is as follows. I use Judy's Magic Cast On to cast on, I think I did 74 stitches. Well, 74 times 2, right? Because it has to be double-sided. And I did that, and then I knitted just in the round, up. No, I didn't knit in the round. It's technically in the round, right? Because it's a, Judy's Magic Cast On. But what you're gonna get at the end of this is like a double knitted just rectangle that's not connected to each other. And then I finished off the top, or the edge, with Kitchener stitch. I hate Kitchener stitch, so this was miserable. Doing that for 74 times 2 stitches was not great, but I did it. I persevered, and I can't tell which is no, I can tell. Why am I lying? The one edge that is less stretchy is the Kitchener stitch edge. So this I believe this edge is the Kitchener stitch, and this is the Judy's Magic Cast On. They look the same though, so functionally they're the same. And after I did that, I sewed that rectangle into a band tube. And how I did that was, I don't know what mattress stitch is. I know you're supposed to use it. I didn't look at any tutorials, and I just kind of sewed up. I picked up, let me see if I can show you. This side is a little bit more wonky, but I picked up these ladders from one edge of the band, and then I picked up the same rose ladder from the other side of the band, and then just like kind of whip stitch them together, which I think it worked pretty well, because I mean, this is wonky, but it that's the wrong side, and this is like the good side, and it looks pretty seamless. And I don't think it's a big deal, because I'm just going to put this at the back of my head rather. Oh god. This guy is purely for function, not really for style. I will wear it when I am skating or something. it was mostly a project so that I could use up some scrap yarn. Since I am doing no new yarns in 2023. The next finished object that I have is these fingerless gloves. And this is made from Noro Kakigori in Naha. The one yarn that Tiffany Lou, she used to make her June top. I also made a June top because who didn't? From that yarn, that was a craze. So I made that June top, and then I had a lot of yarn left over, so I made these. But you can tell that this has got mohair in it, and the mohair is from the advent calendar, and that the mohair that I knitted with this is the Katya 50 Shades of Mohair. I think that's what it's called. I'll look at the notes. The pattern is free pattern that I got on Ravelry, but they look really similar to the penny gloves that Petiteknit has, but it's a free pattern. So, oh my god, what is the pattern? I will insert here. This video is also going to be miserable to edit because I don't remember anything and I always have to look it up when I'm editing. But I'm really pleased with these. They're not as warm as wool and mohair because it's cotton. The Kakigori is cotton and it's clearly a summer yarn, but you know, it did the job. I still didn't finish all of that yarn, Noro Kakigori, but we'll persevere and we'll figure out a use for the rest of it. So this finished object number, I don't even know. Last finished object that I have is a beanie, a hat, made from the same yarn that I made the Sophie scarf with, Sophie shawl with, sorry. But this is a hat for my boyfriend. I don't really look good in hats. This is why I don't wear them. But it's a double knit beanie, and I made it using the Centro knitting machine. I got that for Christmas. I've been having fun experimenting with it. Obviously, the beanie is the one thing that everybody makes on that machine first, so I had to give it a go. It's a beanie. It's not my favorite style of beanie, honestly. It's warm because it's double knit, but I don't like that you just scrunch up the top like this. And it's not my favorite. It kind of looks like a butthole. It looks like a butthole. And I'm like, I don't know. I just really like, with hand knitted beanies, you get that shaping. That's really nice. So that's why I'm not wearing it. And it's for my boyfriend. My works in progress, I only have two. The first work in progress is the sock from the last time. The last time that I showed this was I was still increasing just for the toe with Knitting for Olive cotton merino in purple elephant. And I hadn't started the body of the sock yet. But I did start the body of the sock, and I got this much far. And it's been like a take with me knit, because you know, socks fit really easily in bags. So wherever I go, I have this in the bag. So I haven't really made a ton of progress since this is sock number 1. But I don't know, I'm having fun with it. Just mindlessly knitting. And then maybe I'll try a different shaping for the heel for this one. I think shadow wrap, maybe heel. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, and the base of the sock is Madeline Tosh sock. I don't know what color it is because I threw the tag out. I need to keep all the tags or take pictures of them because I keep doing this. And then the last work in progress I have, this is kind of finished, but I only have one, so that's why it's unfinished. Is a, what is this? Glove. But it's mittens, but it has a split in the middle of the palm so that you can kind of do that. This is unfinished because you need to sew down the side still so that it goes like that and like that. So yeah, this is, the pattern is a free pattern in Ravelry. I do not remember the name, so I will put it here. But the yarn that I used is Barocco Mochi, which is this blown yarn. It's a mix of like mohair and acrylic and whatever, nylon, but it has these little tweed flecks in it, and it's really cute and very squishy alone. But since it's mittens, I wanted it to be warm, so I combined it with an acrylic yarn that I already have, which was Lion's brand butter, soft as butter, something like that. It came in a kit that I bought a million years ago, and I just never used it for that kit, so figured this was a good use of it. It makes a really dense kind of fabric, which is good because it's mittens, but I didn't knit these long enough, so it's kind of constricting around the top of my fingers. But I'm like, maybe I can stretch it with blocking, so we'll try and do that. And then I have to make another one to have it be a pair. But yeah, maybe I'll get some use out of them soon. The problem is that New York is currently in a random spring mood, and it was freezing, and it snowed and flurried and hailed a little bit. It was in like the 30s, it was 20s, and then now it's 50 degrees. It's so hot. And I don't control the heat in my building, so I'm just roasting like a chestnut on open fire. So those are the things that are currently in progress. And then I guess we'll talk about acquisitions, which are all from the advent calendar that I got. I said I was on a yarn ban last month or last episode, and I was on a yarn ban, but then I forgot that I bought an advent calendar. Okay, the light is really going, so let me speed through this. The advent calendar that I got is from Biscotti Yarns, and it is a 24-day standard like advent calendar. And the packaging, there are two reasons why I got it. First, I thought it was a really good deal for how much yarn you're getting. Second of all, the packaging was very nice. And I wanted something to sit under my Christmas tree and like bring me joy throughout December, so that's the main reason why I got it. And then you know the contents basically of what you're gonna get in terms of like yarn, type of yarn that are in the calendar, but you don't know obviously what color they are or any of the little trinkets that you also get. And then I believe the advent calendar also comes with, I want to say 5 patterns, and you get them as a PDF. I looked through the patterns, and some of them I will knit and some of them I won't. But overall, it's a really good deal because I believe the price is $225 for that big calendar. And unfortunately, I threw the package away, so I can't really show you what the calendar looked like. But for next year, if they do the advent calendar again, I definitely recommend you giving it a try at least once, if you're into that sort of thing. So let me just do a run through of the contents just for the yarn contents in the advent calendar. And it is two skeins of Bis sock, which is I believe they're kind of their own sock yarn. And the contents of that are 85% merino, 15% nylon, so standard sock yarn, and you get a 75-gram skein and then an 85-gram skein, so you can make some pretty long socks. And then you also get a 25-gram skein of that, so that's three skeins of bis sock in varying weights. And then you get 2 of the yak 50 yarn, which is 50% yak and 50% silk. And the next one is 5 skeins of super sock, which is a different sock yarn, but you get 50 grams of that, and the 75% merino superwash, and then 25% nylon. So the content is a little bit different from the biz sock. And then you get 1 worsted 100% wool skein, which is all, I think that's 100 grams that you get. And then the last one, the last one you get is a mohair, and you get 20 grams of it. Let me just quickly run through the colors that I got. This is the yak, the 2 yak yarns that I got. Plum raspberry-ish color, and then the other one is a brown, but it's I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like a cool-ish brown. It's not as warm as like some browns. It almost feels a little bit more purpley. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. They're going to obviously have really nice drape because they have silk in them. So I'm thinking maybe I'll make like little scarves out of them. And then the next one that I got is the biz socks. These are the 2 colored ones that you get, the big balls, the big skeins, and they all come pre-wound like this, which I thought was nice because I hate winding. And this is, I believe this is the 85, and then this is the 75. The 75 is a nice purple hand-dyed yarn. It has purple, lighter blues, darker blues, and I believe, and this one is yellow and green, very springy. I don't really like this colorway. I'm not really sure what I'll do with it. Maybe it'll look different if you knit it up. So I'm going to give that a try. And then there's so much of this, like 85 grams. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like I could definitely make a pair of socks, but then I don't know, it feels too much. It feels like it's too much to be just socks. So I'll have to figure out use for that. But this one I might turn into a hat. Held double. I feel like I held double, and then maybe with mohair. I feel like it could be done. This is the worsted weight yarn that I got. This is going to be a pair of mittens. I've already decided for my boyfriend, and I think I have maybe enough. We will see. I'm going to be playing yarn chicken with just 100 grams of worsted, I think, but we'll give it a go. If not, I'll use some other yarn as like point color for like what is this? The cuff, I guess, and it'll work. Oh, this is the other 25 gram of the biz sock. It's just white, so I think it'll be good to use as point color for some socks, or they have a pattern that goes with the sock yarn specifically, but I don't think I'm going to knit that. It's not really my style, and it's a Christmas ornament, and Christmas is done, so I'm not going to do that. And then the last one is the super sock. Let me see if I can show them all at once. These are all 50 gram. Oh god, here we go. Oh yeah, there we go. 50 gram skeins. And we got these 2 pink purple ones. This is more lighter and then less variation. This is more tonal than this one, which has like pretty clear hand-dyed specks. And this is a very bold blue one that's light blue and then kind of navy blue, electric blue. I don't know, this is not really my color, so I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but these I definitely want to make socks out of. There's also this mint tealy color that is, it doesn't seem like it's hand dyed. It just seems like it's one plain color. This is also not really my color, so. And then the last one is a silvery color, silvery purplish. I don't know. Socks? Maybe I'll just have a lot of hand knit socks. And I think I'm going to end up buying the 52 Weeks of Socks book. I've been holding off on it because I was like, girl, you're not gonna knit any socks. You're not gonna knit 52 socks, so you don't really need it. But I think I'm going to have to. I've been seeing all these, you know, all these people on Instagram, YouTube, knitting socks from that book, and it's really inspiring. So I think I'm going to end up getting it, and then we'll join in the fun. Okay, so that's it. I went through everything, and this is going to be a massively long video, and the light's really going, so the video quality is going to be poo-poo. But, you know, thanks for joining in on episode 1, officially, of this podcast. I'm glad you're here if you stuck around till the end of this. And I'll see you next time with some more knitting. Okay.